Be me, 29, feminist activist, and political science grad student in Portland. Spend most of my time on Twitter calling out misogyny and alt-right talking points. 70K followers. Blue checkmark. Regular contributor to feminist publications. Confident in my debate skills. Destroyed countless men's rights activists. Friends say I'm too good at dismantling patriarchal arguments. Decide it's time to take the fight to the source. Going to infiltrate 4chan poll board and red pill them about feminism. They're just uneducated incels who've never faced real feminist arguments. I'll post feminist theory. Watch them crumble under weight of facts and logic. This will be content gold for my Twitter thread. Create thread on poll. Feminist here, ready to debate you incels. I have degrees in political science and gender studies. I've published papers on patriarchy and systemic misogyny. Try to challenge me with your alt-right talking points. I'll wait while you Google arguments you don't understand. Feel extremely confident. This will be easy. Within 30 seconds, replies start flooding in. Expected incoherent rage and misogyny. Instead, getting detailed statistical rebuttals with sources. Multiple Anons posting government data, academic studies, court records. They're not emotional. They're clinical and precise. This isn't what I prepared for. First, Anon responds with simple question. You say patriarchy oppresses women. Explain why women live 5 years longer than men. Why women graduate college at higher rates. Why women receive 63% lighter sentences for same crimes. Why 97% of workplace deaths are men. If patriarchy favors men, why do these stats favor women? Try to respond with standard theory. Patriarchy hurts men too through toxic masculinity. Men choose dangerous jobs. That's not oppression. Sentencing gap is because women are less violent. Feel like I'm on solid ground with these responses. Anon immediately counters. So when outcomes favor women, it's their choices. When outcomes favor men, it's systemic oppression. Why doesn't your framework apply equally? You're using circular logic to confirm your bias. Other Anons posting BTFO and laughing pepper images. Try different approach. Let's talk about wage gap. Women make 77 cents for every dollar men make. This proves systemic discrimination against women. Feel confident. This is my strongest argument. 3 different Anons respond with detailed breakdowns. One post Department of Labor Studies. Wage gap disappears when controlling for hours worked. Women work average 35 hours weekly, men 41. Women take more time off, choose lower paying fields. Never married women 35 to 43 out-earn men in same category. Another Anon posts economic analysis. Women make different choices, teaching versus engineering. Part-time versus full-time, flexibility versus salary. These are choices, not discrimination. Why should woman working 35 hours make same as man working 50? Third Anon posts this. If women cost 77% as much for same work, why would any business hire men? Companies are profit-driven. They'd hire all women. Fact that they don't proves wage gap myth. Holy shit, I never thought about it that way. Try to recover. What about sexual assault statistics? 1 in 4 women are sexually assaulted. This proves rape culture and male violence. Surely they can't dispute this. Anon responds instantly with source breakdown. That stat is from 2007 study that counted unwanted kissing as sexual assault. Actual rape rate per FBI is 0.5 per 1,000. 1 in 4 would be 250 per 1,000. That's 500x difference. Also, that study counted regretting drunk sex as assault. You're spreading debunked propaganda. Another Anon posts college data. In same study, 95% of assault victims didn't report to police because it wasn't actually assault by any legal definition. Expanding definition of assault to inflate numbers. This is propaganda, not science. Getting rattled? Try to shift to personal experience. I've experienced sexism my entire life as a woman. Daily microaggressions, harassment, discrimination. You can't deny lived experiences. This always works in my normal debates. Anon responds, lived experience isn't data. I could say I experience anti-male bias daily. Doesn't make it systemic without evidence. Your feelings aren't facts. Show me data. Other Anons posting destroyed and BTFO. Try emotional angle. Women are afraid to walk alone at night. We have to take precautions men don't. This proves rape culture. Anon posts crime statistics immediately. Men are 75% of violent crime victims. Men more likely to be assaulted, murdered, robbed. Men should be more afraid but aren't allowed to express fear. Your fear is social conditioning, not statistical reality. Another Anon adds, women's murder rate lowest of any demographic. Men murder rate 4x higher. But somehow women are victims. Math doesn't support your narrative. Try to pivot to reproductive rights. Women's bodily autonomy is under attack. We face restrictions on abortion. Men don't face equivalent restrictions. Feel like this is unassailable position. Anon responds with question. Men can be forced to financially support children they didn't want. For 18 years, no choice after conception. Women have multiple outs: abortion, adoption, safe haven. Where's male reproductive choice? Another posts, woman can terminate pregnancy man wants. Man must pay for child he didn't want. Her body her choice, his wallet her choice. That's not equality, that's privilege. Try to argue. Pregnancy affects women's bodies. That's why they get final say. No, this sounds weak. Anon counters, so bodily autonomy justifies abortion. But men face military draft. Government can force men to die in war. Where's male bodily autonomy? Why is forcing men to die acceptable, but forcing women to birth isn't? Other Anons posting, REKT, with explosion gifs. Getting desperate, try domestic violence angle. Domestic violence disproportionately affects women. 1 in 3 women experience intimate partner violence. This has to work. Anon posts studies immediately. Multiple studies show DV is roughly equal by gender, including 2010 CDC study. 70% of non-reciprocal DV is female on male, but only 2% of DV resources go to male victims. Society ignores male victims, inflates female victims. Another Anon. Duluth model assumes men are always aggressors. Man calls police about female abuser. He gets arrested. System designed to ignore male victims. You claim to care about DV, but only when women are victims. Try to recover with homelessness argument. Women are vulnerable to homelessness and poverty. Society doesn't protect women. Anon posts stats immediately. 67% of homeless are men. 96% of homeless veterans are men. 95% of workplace deaths are men. Men die younger, kill themselves 4x more often. But you only care about women. Another posts, society has infinite programs for women. Homeless women get priority housing. Women get domestic violence shelters. Men get nothing and die in streets. But somehow women are oppressed. Try education angle. Women face barriers in STEM. Need more programs to encourage women in science. Anon counters with data. Women are 60% of college students. 67% of graduate students. Get preferential admission through diversity programs. Receive majority of scholarships. Boys are ones struggling in education. But all resources go to girls who are already winning. Another Anon. You want equality in STEM, but not in garbage collection, construction, mining. Funny how equality only matters in comfortable air-conditioned offices. Women want equality of outcome and benefits, but ignore equality of outcome and costs. Getting destroyed, try historical oppression. Women couldn't vote until 1920. Were treated as property. Centuries of oppression. Anon responds. Men couldn't vote either unless they owned property. Working-class men got vote same time as women. Also, men were drafted to die in wars. Women got vote without draft obligation. Who's privileged? Another. Women were property protected from violence and work. Men were disposable labor and cannon fodder. Both genders had different restrictions and benefits. Cherry-picking women's restrictions while ignoring men's deaths. Try workplace discrimination. Women face glass ceiling. Passed over for promotions. Paid less for same work. Anon posts Forbes data. Women-owned businesses get preferential loans. Diversity quotas favor women in hiring. Women receive mentorship programs men don't. Women promoted faster in Fortune 500 companies now. Glass ceiling broke 20 years ago. You're living in past. Another. If women were discriminated against, why do companies desperate for profit create women-only programs? Why do they pay for diversity if it doesn't help bottom line? Market proves you wrong. Try cultural sexism angle. Media objectifies women's bodies. Unrealistic beauty standards. Male gaze everywhere. Anon counters. Male suicide rate 4x higher than women. Boys falling behind in every educational metric. Men dying younger. Working harder, getting less. But you're worried about magazine covers? Your priorities reveal who's actually oppressed. Another posts. Women's attractiveness determines value to men. Men's productivity determines value to women. Both genders judge each other, just different metrics. But only male standards are called sexist. Getting completely destroyed, try to end debate. You're all just bitter and kells. Can't get women so you blame feminism. This proves misogyny. Anon responds calmly. Ad hominem means you lost the argument. You came with theory, we came with data. You came with feelings, we came with facts. You came to debate, we came with sources. BTFO. Multiple Anons posting victory gifs. Feminist gets destroyed by facts and logic. Another one bites the dust. They always resort to insults when data defeats them. OP got absolutely BTFO. Try one last time. This board is just echo chamber. You all agree with each other. Not real debate. Anon posts. You came here to debate us. We provided sources, studies, statistics. You provided feelings, slogans, theories. We demolished every claim you made. Now you're mad we don't accept your feelings as facts. Another. Echo chamber is your Twitter feed, where everyone agrees and bans dissent. We challenged you with data. You ran from data to emotions. That's BTFO. Thread fills with BTFO posts. Screenshots being posted on other boards. Feminist tries to debate poll, gets destroyed. They're making memes of my arguments. Feel completely humiliated. Realize I never actually debated these arguments before. My usual debates are with people who accept feminist framework. Never had to defend basic premises against someone with data. Everyone in my circles just agrees with each other. I was completely unprepared for actual debate. Check back on Thread, it's being archived. Classic feminist BTFO by Anons. They never bring data, always bring feelings. Another one bites the dust. My confident opening post looks ridiculous now. Worst part, I can't refute their arguments. They posted government data, academic studies, court records. I posted theories, feelings, and debunked statistics. When they challenged my sources, I had none. When I challenged theirs, they posted more. Try to post on Twitter about harassment I faced. Went to 4chan to debate alt-right. Got bombarded with hate and misogyny. Trying to spin my loss as victimhood. But honestly, they weren't hateful. They were just right. Posted data I couldn't refute. Asked questions I couldn't answer. Destroyed arguments I thought were solid. I got BTFO completely. Spend next week thinking about everything they posted. Google all their statistics. They're all real. Check their sources. They're legitimate. Try to find counter-arguments. Can't find any. My entire worldview is shaking. Realize my feminist education never taught me to debate. Just taught me to call opponents sexist. Never learned to defend positions with data. Only learned to appeal to emotion and lived experience. I was completely unprepared for someone who demanded evidence. Go back to poll week later, different thread. Don't announce I'm feminist this time. Just read discussions, see how they argue. They're constantly posting sources, studies, statistics. Challenging each other, demanding evidence. This is actual debate, not what I learned in college. Start questioning everything I learned. Wage gap, debunked. Sexual assault stats, inflated. Domestic violence, roughly equal. Sentencing gap, favors women. Education gap, favors women. Workplace deaths, men die more. Everything I believed was either wrong or incomplete. Most disturbing realization. I came to debate them. They came prepared with facts. I relied on rhetoric and emotion. They relied on data and logic. I got BTFO because I was wrong. Not because they were better debaters, but because reality doesn't support feminist narrative. Try to discuss this with feminist friends. When on 4chan, they had concerning statistics. Friends immediately shut down. Don't engage with alt-right propaganda. Those statistics are taken out of context. You're being red-pilled by misogynists. None of them will look at the actual data. Realize this is the problem. Feminism taught me to avoid opposing arguments. Label them as hate speech or propaganda. Never actually engage with the evidence. Because evidence doesn't support the ideology. I got BTFO because I lived in echo chamber. Go back to my college notes from gender studies. Everything is theory, nothing is data. Lots of feelings, personal essays, lived experiences. But no statistics, no rigorous analysis. Just assumed feminist premises were true. Never questioned, never verified. Compare to what Anon's posted. Government databases, peer-reviewed studies. Court records, economic analysis, demographic data. Everything sourced and verifiable. They were more rigorous than my entire degree program. I paid $60,000 to learn things that aren't true. Start reading the sources they posted. Department of Labor reports on wage gap. CDC data on domestic violence. Bureau of Justice statistics on crime and sentencing. Department of Education data on enrollment. Everything confirms what they told me. I got BTFO by reality itself. Biggest shock. Male disadvantages I never knew existed. Education, boys falling behind at every level. Legal, men get longer sentences for same crimes. Family court, fathers lose custody 85% of time. Workplace, men die in jobs women won't do. Health, men die 5 years younger. Suicide, men kill themselves 4x more. How did I not know any of this? Spent 4 years in gender studies. Never once discussed male disadvantages. Never once questioned feminist assumptions. Just learned to call opposition sexist and move on. I was indoctrinated, not educated. Try to bring up these concerns in feminist spaces. Maybe we should address male suicide rates. Maybe men face some systemic disadvantages. Immediately attacked as male apologist. You're centering men in feminism. Internalized misogyny. They won't even look at the data. Realize this is why I got BTFO so badly. Feminism doesn't prepare you for actual debate. Just teaches you to shut down opposition. Call them names, claim victimhood, refuse engagement. Works in echo chamber, fails against prepared opponent. Anons were prepared with facts. I came with feelings. Look at my confident opening post again. Ready to debate you in Kells. I have degrees and publications. You don't understand these issues. Cringe so hard at my arrogance. I didn't understand the issues. They understood them better than I did. The incels I mocked had more knowledge. Better sources, stronger arguments, actual data. While I had degrees that taught me nothing true. Publications that nobody challenged. Twitter followers who agreed with everything. I was unprepared because I was never challenged. Final realization about that debate. I didn't lose because Anons were better debaters. I lost because I was wrong. About wage gap, assault stats, discrimination, everything. Reality doesn't support feminist narrative. I got BTFO by objective facts. Most humiliating part. They weren't even trying that hard. Those were basic counterarguments they've made thousands of times. They were bored debunking my points. Like it was routine for them. Meanwhile, I was trying my hardest and losing. Thread is now legendary on poll. Remember that feminist who got BTFO? Classic example of ideology meeting reality. They use my thread to show new people. This is what happens when you debate feelings with facts. I'm a cautionary tale. Can't go back to my feminist circles now. Can't unsee the data I saw. Can't unhear the arguments I heard. Can't unknow what I learned. That poll Anon BTFO completely changed my worldview. Worst part about getting BTFO. It wasn't even close. Every argument I made, demolished immediately. Every statistic I posted, debunked with sources. Every emotional appeal, countered with data. It was complete intellectual destruction. Looking back at my opening post. Try to challenge me with alt-right talking points. They challenged me with government statistics. I'll wait while you Google arguments. They didn't need to Google, they had sources ready. I've published papers on patriarchy. Papers nobody ever challenged because everyone agreed. I was so confident and so wrong. The debate that destroyed my worldview lasted maybe 2 hours. Anons posting sources faster than I could respond. Each response more devastating than last. By end of thread, I was just insulting them. Because I had no arguments left. Classic sign of getting BTFO. What I learned from getting destroyed by poll. Feminism is ideology, not science. Built on feelings, not facts. Survives in echo chambers, dies in debate. Can't withstand scrutiny from informed opposition. I got BTFO because reality isn't feminist. Advice to other feminists who think they can debate poll. Don't. They have more data than you, better arguments than you, stronger logic than you. You'll get BTFO like I did, unless you're ready to have worldview shattered. 1 year later, completely different political views. All because Anon BTFO me so hard. I couldn't maintain feminist beliefs after seeing data. Couldn't go back to echo chamber after real debate. Getting BTFO was best thing that happened to me. Destroyed my ideology but freed my mind. Final thought on that debate. I came to red pill them about feminism. They red pilled me about reality. I came to educate them. They educated me. I came to defeat them. They BTFO me completely. And honestly, I deserved it.